Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Titan Sports. I'm Enrique Medina.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Ethan Michael.
Good to see you again. I'm Oscar Rodriguez.
And I'm Alex Granados. We're here to get the ball rolling to provide you with your weekly sports updates. Welcome to Titan Sports. The 2023 World Baseball Classic continued on Sunday with the tournament's first semifinal game featuring USA versus Cuba. USA swept Cuba with a score of 14-2, which advanced the team to the finals.
Cuba quickly gathered an early lead, loading the bases in the top of the first inning after a series of defensive mistakes from Team USA.
Trey Turner had a great performance, going 3 for 5 with 4 RBIs, bringing him to tournament best 10 RBIs. Turner hit a grand slam home run in the second inning, bringing USA to their initial 3-1 lead.
In the sixth inning, Turner went on to hit a 3-run blast, bringing Team USA to a score of 12-2. Following the game, Trey Turner has gone on to set a U.S. record for home runs in a World Baseball Classic, recording 4 home runs in the tournament.
Yoan Moncada and Luis Robert Jr. represent 2 of the biggest Cuban-born stars in the Major League. But similar to many other players, they weren't invited by the Cuban Baseball Federation to play.
Randy Arozarena sets among the most notable absentees from Cuba, who is playing for Team Mexico after arriving from fleeing Cuba back in 2015. The U.S. will now face the winner of Japan and Mexico in the World Baseball Classic Championship on Tuesday night.
After easing past Cuba in the semifinal, the United States has its awaited opponent, the favorite, Japan.
An unprecedented run came to an end for Team Mexico in the World Baseball Classic as they lost to Japan 6-5 in the game of the tournament.
Japan struggled at the plate early on, and Mexico's starting pitcher Patrick Sandoval outshined Japanese phenom Roki Sasaki, who was replaced after a 3-run home run by Luis Urias.
After Japan tied the game with a 3-run blast of their own, Mexico responded with the next inning with back-to-back doubles from Randy Arozarena and Alex Verdugo.
However, Japan came into the bottom of the ninth with the heart of their lineup. After Shohei Ohtani opened with the inning with the leadoff double, Masataka Yoshida drew a walk, and Munetaka Murami ended the game with a walk-off 2-run double.
Team Mexico manager Benji Gil stated, quote, "Neither team deserved to lose, but someone had to win. Both teams had a great performance, great pitching from both sides, and no point in time neither team gave up or surrendered. I think that Japan moves on, but the World Baseball won today," end quote.
Japan will meet Team USA tonight as they look to become the first 3-time champions. And on the other hand, USA will look to repeat and defend the crown.
After defeating Daniil Medvedev, Carlos Alcaraz has now reclaimed the #1 ranking spot in tennis.
In last year's U.S. Open, Carlos Alcaraz became the youngest player ever at just 19 years old to hold the title and then keep it for 20 weeks straight after. Adding to his already impressive resume, Alcaraz is now the youngest player to win in the desert at Indian Wells.
A big headline going into this tournament was the reigning #1 ranked tennis player Novak Djokovic, who was denied a waiver of the COVID-19 vaccine.
The coronavirus has become a constant obstacle for Djokovic and his legacy, though the 22-time Grand Slam winner has been consistently with his stance. He's had to withdraw from many tournaments in the last couple of years.
That's not to say Carlos Alcaraz did not deserve of the BNP Paribas Open trophy, however, as the 19-year-old phenom never faced a break point while opening leads of 3-0 in the first set and 4-0 in the second.
With this victory, Alcaraz becomes the first man to win the tournament without dropping a set since Roger Federer back in 2017.
In one of the most dominant runs in pro tennis history, Novak may have a new rival on the rise, as he was once a newcomer to veterans like Nadal and Federer.
As COVID restrictions loosen, the potential for a new rivalry between the two generational talents gets closer to becoming a reality.
We're officially through the first weekend of the NCAA Tournament, and March Madness has certainly lived up to the hype.
For the second time in the tournament's history, a 16 seeded team has gone on to defeat the #1 seeded team in the first round, with the Far Lake Dickinson Knights beat Purdue 63-58.
On the 5-year anniversary of Virginia's historic loss to UMBC, they suffered another stunning defeat.
The Cavaliers were upset by Furman after an inexplicable turnover by fifth-year senior guard Kay Clark. The turnover led to a game-winning 3 for the Paladins, and Virginia was once again living in a first-round nightmare.
With the Sweet 16 coming up this weekend, plenty of big dogs remain, with the #1 seeds Alabama and Houston, an Xavier-Texas matchup, and an anticipated tournament rematch between Gonzaga and UCLA.
The biggest unknown in the NFL continues this week, as the Baltimore Ravens and quarterback Lamar Jackson remain at a standstill.
After not being able to come to a long-term agreement, the Ravens recently placed a non-exclusive franchise tag on Lamar Jackson, giving the player free range to negotiate with other teams and sign any offer sheet from a different organization.
The decision of providing Jackson a non-exclusive franchise tag replaces the choice of an exclusive tag, which would give the Ravens full control over his trade terms.
If Jackson signs with a new team, Baltimore will have 5 days to decide if they want a match and would receive 2 first-round picks as compensation for the player leaving.
With this tag, Jackson will be paid $32 million this upcoming season. The 26-year-old is now the first NFL MVP under 30 to receive this form of negotiation. The Ravens will have until July 17th to reach a multi-year extension with Jackson.
Even though Jackson is available to speak to teams, his market has been relatively dry. 2 quarterback-needy teams have already said that they're not interested in Jackson.
Good Morning Football's Peter Schrager reported that Atlanta does not plan to pursue the quarterback. Along with Atlanta, the Panthers general manager Scott Fitterer has been the first to go on the record and say they are not interested in signing Jackson as well.
Next up, we have Titan Timeline to give you the very latest.
Cal State Fullerton's baseball team is on a roll this month as they have won 4 of their last 5 games.
The team has certainly improved with the help of the latest pitcher of the week, Tyler Schultz. Schultz recently threw for 7 shutout innings with 8 strikeouts in the Titans' 10-0 victory against the UC Irvine Friday night.
Schultz's team had his back, scoring 4 runs in the first inning. Maddox Lotto had himself a game, going 4 for 5, scoring 4 runs and an RBI. First baseman Caden Connor came through with the Titans knocking in 3 runs and scoring 2 himself.
Irvine responded in their second game of the series, doubling the Titans' score 12-5 on Saturday. The Titans gave a competitive effort early, scoring the first run of the game and keeping it tied until it all fell apart for CSUF in the 5th inning after giving 6 runs. 3 of those runs involved walks with bases loaded in humiliating fashion.
After this defeat, the Titans returned on the favor on Sunday by doubling the score, beating Irvine 9-5. This was quite a team effort as 6 Titans reached home plate.
Once again, Connor and Letta helped lead the way, coming for 4 runs and 2 RBIs. While the Titans still have a .500 record at 8-8, more than half of their losses this season have come close within 2 runs.
If they can start finding the rhythm of consistently closing out games, Cal State Fullerton could be a team to watch out for in the postseason as they make a deep run at the end of the season.
All right, you guys, stay tuned for Roundtable Discussion after the break coming up.
Hello, and welcome back to our roundtable discussion. I know, guys, tonight I know the final of the WBC hosting Japan and against the USA. But before we talk about that game tonight, let's talk about yesterday between Japan and Mexico. It was surely an exciting game to watch. What are you guys' thoughts about the game?
Yeah, honestly, it's probably I've seen a lot of great games over the past decade or so. A lot of great Dodger games in the postseason. The Nationals had a good run in 2019. They had a lot of great games there. But this is single-handedly, as far as international baseball is concerned, the best game I've ever seen. This was back and forth. I mean, this was a 3-0 ball game after Urias hit that home run in the 5th inning. And Sasaki, he was absolutely dealing. 102 mile-per-hour fastballs. Had a little bit of everything. He had the pitching. He had the back and forth. He had the walk-off at the end. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. And when we look at it, the one thing that I was really impressed with was Japan's plate discipline. I really think that's where they stood out in comparison to Mexico. They took walk after walk. It felt like every inning, Mexico truly couldn't get them to really, it was hard for them to get that third out in every inning. You know, Randy saved them a few times defensively, and also Randy and Verdugo in the 8th inning. But yeah, Team Japan, their plate discipline, being able to come back from that, that speaks a lot about both their culture of baseball over there and how much grand determination that team has.
What do you think about Alex?
This definitely felt, I would compare it obviously to the postseason, but a wild card game specifically, because one game, do or die, and like Enrique mentioned, it was just back and forth. You saw a little bit of flair from Randy at Rosarena. I love that. So much swagger. I love that guy.
Gosh, yeah, I love him too.
I didn't love him in the 2020 World Series when he was destroying the Dodgers, but I love him now that he's in Team Mexico. Obviously, Japan, as great as they are, they're more reserved when it comes to just showing emotion, but even Ohtani, when's the last time you've seen him show that much emotion? This is why I love the world.
They're never in the postseason.
Exactly. You don't have the opportunity. Same with Trout. He's showing so much emotion throughout this tournament. That's why I love World Cups like this, whether it's soccer or baseball in this case, because you're playing for your own country. You're representing something that actually means something to you, your heritage. So that's what's great about the World Baseball Classic.
I like you mentioned that about Ohtani actually being like amped up about the game, because I have friends in a group chat that are talking smack about Ohtani, like, oh, you never see Ohtani having that face or that reaction in an Angels jersey. So, it's always good to see that the players are like taking the pride of playing for the country too. But going back to Enrique about the play discipline, yeah, if you're down 3-0, it takes a toll on the players, especially if you're ready to come back. But they have that composure and they're patient enough to get back in the game. So.
Well, I think, the thing about the World Baseball Classic is we were talking about earlier is that how global the game is. Yeah, I don't think anybody was really talking about Mexico. We were talking about Venezuela, Dominican Republic, Japan, USA, but that just goes to show you how far the game has come. And the fact that a team like Mexico, who I think had plus 1,000 odds, is able to compete with Japan like that, I think shows just how far this game has come.
Right, and they're totally not like a Dominican Republic of Venezuela, like you mentioned, but they're a good baseball country. More than anything, as a Mexican, you can only be proud of the performance that they performed in this tournament. This is the first time that any of their national teams in any sport make it this far. They were 3 outs away of making the World Baseball Classic final. When else in our lifetime can or do we think we'll ever hear that? Making the final of a World Cup in any sport.
Yeah, I was already picturing them holding the trophy.
Yeah.
During the 8th inning, I was getting ready to just bring my Mexican flag to the show, wave it around, and then Ohtani's coming up the 9th, and
You should have still brought it. You still brought it, man. I remember, kind of off topic, but I remember for the World Cup when they got eliminated in Mexico, I still wear my Mexico jersey the day after, but you should have brought it, man. That would have been funny. But what do you think about tonight's matchup? I think Yu Darvish is starting pitcher.
No, they actually switched it.
Oh, they switched it.
They announced, I saw a tweet on MLB on Fox. They switched. It's not Darvish, but he's definitely going to pitch in the game.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I totally expect it. He was actually the guy who closed out the World Baseball Classic in 2009 when Japan beat South Korea. So he's used to the big spot in the big moment.
And who knows, they might use Ohtani as a pitcher as well. They might.
Close it out, maybe?
Yeah, I saw some tweets about that they might bring him in. Also, too, on the USA side, I know Lance Lynn, he was having some conflict with I think he's in the White Sox right now, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
I think they wanted him back, and he was like, once he heard Yu Darvish was still pitching, he was like, oh, nah, I'm going to try to stay in. So I don't know if he's still on the roster or he's already flying back to his team, but I hope he stays, man, because it's not every now and then you can still pitch in the WC final.
This is exactly what a Game 7 of the World Series is right here. This is exactly what it is. You have to put everything out on the line. If it means starters have to pitch out of the bullpen, you have to do it. Obviously, there's that pressure from that teams are getting, Team USA is getting from their actual Major League Baseball clubs, because of arm issues and things like that. It's early in the season, but you have to lay it out on the line. This is for your country. You might never have an opportunity like this ever again in your lifetime, so you have to take advantage. And I believe for Team USA, it's going to be Merrill Kelly going on the mound. He, in my opinion, he's one of the most underrated pitchers in the NL West. He's a really solid arm for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and it'll be interesting. I don't think he's pitched that great in this tournament, but he's definitely someone that could do a decent job. I really think it's just going to come down to Japan's play discipline again in this game. I feel like if I were to have to choose a team out of the top of my head right now, I would say Japan, just because of that plate discipline, and they have very solid, consistent pitching.
And you think it'll be a close game compared to Mexico, or you think it'll be they got it?
Yes.
That's a great question because I feel like Team USA, when they're on their best day, I feel like there's no other country that is better than Team USA, both hitting and pitching wise. They have, in my opinion, probably
Even
the
with
best
the pitching
talent.
staff they have right now?
No, I do think Japan has a better pitching staff.
Especially for this game.
Especially for this game, exactly. They have the arms. We mentioned Darvish and Ohtani could probably piggyback off of each other in tonight's match. But I really think if Team USA's batting shows up tonight, there's no reason to believe they can't win it all.
Who you got for tonight?
Man, it's gonna be tough. I mean, I don't want to pick. I guess I'm gonna have to go with Japan, to be honest, just because of the matchups. But you know, it's a close game. Like I said, I don't. After seeing Mexico, I don't know who to pick now. So you know, it's just. It's like I said. It's cool to see. It's cool to see. I think same with the World Cup. It brings everybody together. That's what sports does. So.
Right. One thing I do want to mention too, just about the whole significance of this game. I know in Japan they have a huge viewership for baseball. I was looking at some statistics online on Instagram, on social media, that were saying that just for their exhibition matches before the World Baseball Classic even started, these were like some of the highest rated watched baseball games of all time. The highest rated baseball game of all time as far as viewership wise was the 1980 World Series Game 6. This one's easily going to surpass it. So there's a very good shot that this is going to be the most watched baseball game of all time. So it's going to be awesome.
Funny you say that. I think I saw also too on an Instagram post. I don't know which game of Japan it was, but one of Japan's games had more views than the
South Korea.
Than the World Series. So
Right.
than the recent World Series too. So that was pretty crazy. It's just like a stat to have, just a simple regular game, not even the final. It's already having more viewers than like basically the World Series matchup. So that was pretty crazy. What do you have, Alex?
Japan 8-6.
It's 8-6.
8-6. Wow.
Home run from Ohtani or what?
Grand Slam. No.
man.
No, I think Ohtani will do damage. Probably 3 RBIs tonight.
But what about Trey Turner, man? He's been off the last game. He had 2 home runs. The game before that, basically, he had the game-winning home run.
I'm thinking, why couldn't he do that?
Where's this on the
Yeah,
top
that's what I
postseason,
saw.
right?
That's what I saw. But
Where's that?
I don't know, man. I mean, now he's with Philly, so I don't really care what he does now. But Enrique is a big tennis person.
Right,
so
right.
what do you think about Carlos? You think he could be? He has so much potential going up right now. You think
Right.
he can surpass Nadal and Federer and Djokovic?
I think at this point, there hasn't been anybody at 19 years old who's gone to that level of the big three than Carlos Alcaraz right now. He's already won the U.S. Open, Indian Wells, ATP Masters 1000 tournaments. I mean, he's got all the skills necessary. And it's crazy because Rafael Nadal is out of the top 10 for the first time since 2005. And then in the same week, Alcaraz regains his spot as #1 player in the world. So it's interesting to see that Spanish blood. Nadal should be fine coming up in this clay court season, Monte Carlo, and then the French Open. I feel like he's going to get back into that top 10.
One thing about Nadal, I think any sport is in trouble when they lose someone that much showmanship.
Right.
I think today we're on these iPhones now, and it's all about the numbers and stuff. And the showmanship doesn't essentially show on the stat sheet. But I think that a guy like that who puts it all on the floor, blood, sweat, and tears, and it's really about the show, and he knows that it's about entertainment.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm excited though to see Carlos, especially just 19 years old, man. He got so much potential. But all right, Titans, that is all the time we have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I'm Oscar Rodriguez.
See you again. I'm Alex Granados.
Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Ethan Michael.
And I'm Enrique Medina. Give us a follow on Instagram and Twitter if you haven't already at CSUF Titan Sports to keep you updated on all things sports.